Jackie came on my radar from Justin, and we got a chance to talk, and I was like, oh, this would be good. So she has a company called Evolve Real, and I sent the link out to you guys on that. So she actually performs the setup of products like these 4 that you're going to hear about today. She's going to do a little presentation, and we want to open it up to then allow you guys who have products. You're going to find out maybe some tricks or tips that you don't know about on these products, but also open it up to questions because she can answer those setup challenges that you might be having on these products. So it's AFrame, Sisu, Next, and
Open to close.
Open to close. So get your questions ready, and we're going to keep letting people in and as we go, but I want her to get started. And so Jackie, take it away.
Hey, perfect. Thank you everyone for coming and being here today. And can everyone see my screen? Okay, perfect. So I'm Jackie, as Yvonne mentioned, and thank you, Yvonne, for having me here and for you all to be here. So any topic around transaction management usually revolves around what system is best. That is the number one question I get. My answer will change depending on the specifics of your business. I really want to know where you're at, where you're looking to go, and that way we can find the system that best fits you, not the other way around. And the truth is, it really comes down to your processes. So my goal is to provide you with a brief overview of what each system is known for. We could go so in depth, but I would bore you guys with all of the features and differences. So really want to keep it high level with what it's known for and some tweaks that you can make to improve your process. Let me just go through here. So let's start. Forgot I had this slide in here. So before we dive in, a little bit about me. So I'm originally from Sacramento, California, currently living in Houston, Texas. I've been here about 10 years now. So I started in commercial real estate, quickly became a real estate agent, then transitioned to running a transaction coordinator business. Built out our internal systems there and saw that there was a huge need for others to do the same. So that's where Evolve Real began. We help brokerages, independent agents, teams, and transaction coordinators really get their processes dialed in on the back end. In addition, we do also offer PR, and that really is going to help build authority through being featured in top tier publications and increase your visibility there. Here is the most recent picture of me and my family, and I'm a mother of 3. And a little fun fact I'll share, our youngest here, we were told he was a girl. So I didn't know until about 4 months into the pregnancy that the test was wrong. And so we welcomed our baby boy. So just a little bit about me here. And all right, let's dive in. Why does any of this even matter? So what we've seen, and we've worked with around 200 people, it's not about the best system. It's usually a non-existent process that is the cause of most stress when we're dealing with transactions. So don't get me wrong, we want to find the best system for you, but that answer is different for everyone. So what's important is that we find a process that's tailored to you. So once you get that fixed, you can expect to save anywhere from 10 to 15 hours per week on a low end if you know what to do and we have our processes dialed in from start to finish. And I cannot stress this enough. Nothing will save you time if you don't use it. No matter what system you choose, if we're not actually using it, if we still have agents or team members half in, half out, doing Google Sheets on one side, paper notebook on the other, it's not going to do what we want it to do and save us time, even if it's the quote best system. So the goal is really that you want to create a simple, consistent, and scalable process every single time. And feel free to make this interactive. So if you guys have questions, feel free to jump in at any time. Here are a few that we work with. So Sisu, AFrame, Open to Close, and Next. The good news is all of these have the essentials. So the task automation, email automation, document management, deadline tracking. When it comes down to what's different, it's really the level of integrations. How much can we customize it? How much needs to be customized? How much automation do we want? Is it easy to use? Is it easy for our team to get up and use it effectively? If it's not easy to use, is it worth what it can do too? So all important questions, and depends on your level of tech comfort as well. And you have to be bought in to whatever that system of choice is. So if you're not, and when I say you have to, if you're in charge on your team of teaching systems or helping people implement them, you have to be fully bought in to whatever the choice is. If you're not all in, they will sense that and they will not use it. So if you're using it, if you know the foundation of it, then you're in good shape to be able to be an advocate of it and say, guys, I've used it. This has done this for me, or I've saved this much time in my day-to-day, or I'm done with the most powerful thing is when you're managing 100 transactions at once and you're able to say, I'm done at noon. Because now people want to hear how you did that.
This is one of the reasons, and I love that you brought that up and made it very clear. It's one of the reasons why a team lead who says, go get this product after they've been at an event, isn't bought in to the product, and why the products always fall flat and fail. Because that team lead isn't using it. They're not buying into it. And we can add Follow-Up Boss, Sierra Interactive. You can put every kind of product into that slot, and that's how it works. So you got to buy into it as the head person of the product. And these products are mostly run by operators, the TCLC operations managers. So 1,000%, I agree.
Great. And even if it takes, I can share open and close. That was our biggest learning curve on our end. I surprised my computer survived the moments of saying, why does that work that way? And you get through it because you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You see how other people are achieving great things within it. And that's to be said about, obviously there's different learning curves with each, but it can be said about anything new that you're learning. There's going to be that learning curve there. So you have to decide which one is best aligned and go all in on it and make it work. And don't jump around and think that the system you jump into is going to fix the problem, because if you don't have that process dialed in, that same problem is going to show up in any of these systems. So this is just a high-level overview of something we put together just to explain the different features of each. So as you can see, there's a lot of green here. So a lot of things do what we need it to do. So it comes down to ease of use, and that's preference-based as well. You might get into one of these systems and say, hey, that was easy, or no, that was actually very difficult. So for the most part, the integrations is where we are seeing a lot of differences. We're going to go through each one, and I'm going to talk more about what it's known for as opposed to the individual features as well. So here, Sisu, this is really known as the agent accountability choice. The leaderboard is huge for really helping agents meet their goals and help them work backwards for their conversion rates. There's a lot of reporting. There's a lot of analytics. There is a transaction management side of it on the back end as well. But I would say it's mostly known for how well it actually encourages the teams.
So really quick on this one, Jackie, do you set up the portion that is accountability, or are you sticking strictly to the transaction management side of Sisu?
We do it all.
Okay. And then right now, for those of you that are EXP, I have been told that EXP is now involved with Sisu because Spring Benson has been recruited over to EXP. Her husband, Brian Charles Worth, is the founder of Sisu. So it's kind of a big package. So those of you that are EXP agent, I've had a couple of clients say we're leaving CTE, or we're leaving Next, or we're doing something because we're going to get Sisu for either free or a low fee. I would just caution all of you in that situation. You still have to have the paid version of the product to get full access and use it at a high level, so it's your proprietary product. So keep that in mind before you just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yes, and something else, if you're EXP and utilizing Sisu, you do have to pay to utilize the transaction management portion. So it's great for the leaderboard that we're talking about in agent accountability, but just keep that in mind that transaction management, specifically if you're with EXP, is an additional charge to access that part of the program.
So I have had a client say that they were using Solox for business intelligence, and they went back to Sisu for that, but they kept AFrame for their transaction management.
Yes, that's very common. Sisu, the leaderboard portion of it is so strong that even if you want something slightly different on the transaction management side, you can still keep Sisu. And we see that with a lot of our clients as well. They don't want to give up this part of it, the leaderboard, having that in the office, motivating people with, hey, you said your goal is this, you're running behind here. So they still love that visual of it, but then they'll either tie on a separate system. And again, just depends on what your needs are in this.
And the tracking inside Sisu will be inaccurate unless your team is actually using the CRM that's attached to it.
Yes. All right, so next up, open to close. This is the power user system is how I would best define it. So this has a very advanced, robust features, a lot of tech that is not seen in other platforms. One that I'll quickly explain is smart blocks, which essentially, it's a fancy name for conditional merge fields. And what this means is that in your email templates, if you're marking that you have a way for that specific transaction, if you have a smart block in that email template, it's only going to populate that HOA information if that HOA question is selected yes. So it allows for a lot of time savings there. So if you need very deep customization and triggers, automation, this would be something to consider.
Jackie, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask you one quick question? I missed your last two words on Sisu when you said tracking will be inaccurate in Sisu unless you're using what?
Another CRM. That's what Yvonne mentioned. So or not another CRM, unless you're using a CRM, so you can integrate.
Follow up, boss. So if we use it, that's fine. I didn't know if you meant in that thing, but perfect. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
So next, this is an AI-driven approach is how we've coined it here when going through how to best explain what's different about each one. So with Next, you're able to upload the actual contract, and from there, it's going to pull out, utilizing AI, the actual details of that contract. So it saves you that manual time of going in and putting every single detail. You of course want to double check it, but it's been very accurate from what we're seeing as far as pulling that information, and it's trained on your state contract as well. AFrame, the user-friendly option. So this is something, it's very simple, it's intuitive. And when I say simple, it's not in the sense of, it does not lack in features at all. It's easier to use, I would say, than some of the others. So if you want something easy to get in, it's fairly intuitive, this would be a great choice. A client portal is something all of these features have, all of these systems have as a feature, but each one is slightly different. So definitely, you want, if you're not utilizing a actual calendar or anything like that, you definitely want to have that client portal and have them be able to see where you're at in the transaction. So this would be a great choice. So the common mistakes to avoid. So most inefficiencies actually come through small cracks in your process. So these are some questions that you want to ask yourself. Are you still manually handling things that could be automated, and there are things that should never be automated. So it's really knowing the difference of what that is and how that looks. Are overdue tasks piling up because there's no clear owner? Or is your team wasting time writing the same email templates over and over? When things don't go as planned, do we have scenarios built on the back end to handle it? So if you fix it, even just a few of these, you're already running smoother than 90% of the teams out there just by having these in place. So really think through, hey, what are we doing that's actually losing us time, and how can we be more efficient? And so we'll jump right into just some ways that you can actually improve and streamline your process. We very much believe in simplifying it. There's always, I could have came on here and talked about each system and made it sound as complicated as humanly possible, but that's not what we want. We want to simplify it, and we want to do the same with whatever software we're using. So the fewer manual tasks, the better. We definitely want to simplify it. Something that you can do just as an exercise around this is even just pulling up a blank Google Doc or a Google Sheet and ask yourself, what do I want to have happen the minute that we're under contract? And write those down. Write who was supposed to be handling that task. Is that something that we can offload to a VA? Or do we have a listing manager? Maybe we want to hire a compliance manager that is only handling the compliance part of the transaction. Also ask yourself, when does this need to happen? Is this the minute that we're under contract? Is this part of our closing check-in? But get as granular as possible and then simplify from there. And also account for all scenarios in that exercise that you're doing. So when things pop up, as they inevitably do in real estate, do we have a process that we can easily pull in to our existing tasks? So HOA is a great one. Rent backs, cancellations. Are we relisting it? Does your team know what to do in that scenario? If they have a task for it, is the task clear? Do we need a Loom video that's attached to that task if it's a little bit more complex and they need to open up something else? So these are all the things that just by you going in and building out a clear process for that once, it saves you so much time, so much confusion, so much of the back and forth that happens. And I mentioned client portals a bit, but that's a great one to take advantage of, because if you're having your agents or maybe your clients that are constantly reaching out, if you have a system that you're updating and you're sharing with them where you're at in that process, and better yet, if they expect that update automated every Friday at noon from you, you are getting ahead of any potential confusion or anything that might not have been communicated. You're getting ahead of that. So that's really what you want to do. Some other things: freshen up your email templates, perform regular audits. This is a huge one. So we like to do it monthly, but please at least have this on your calendar for quarterly, because processes change. You want to always be evolving as your process does, as maybe it's a different part of the transaction that you're realizing there's inefficiencies there. Go back to your process, audit it, and build that in. Any questions on this one?
So, Jackie, when you're going through this exercise, let's say you onboard a new client to your company and they want to set up Next. Do you mind map this out? What's the first part of the process? Because you're talking about account for all scenarios, really go deep into finding out the processes. Is it done on a notepad? Is it on a whiteboard? Is it in a Google Drive doc? How do you get it out of somebody's head in business to get it into a system?
No, I love that. So it's a Google Sheet, and it's a Google Sheet with so many tabs that it's overwhelming when you first look at it, but every tab has a purpose. So we build out custom fields. What information do you absolutely need? But we go through this step by step and really help to see where does our time, your tasks are done, and our time needs to be. Let's get an intake form to actually have a smooth process for your agents to easily submit and make things required. So that way, you're telling me about getting incomplete contracts. We can prevent that on the back end instead of that being the reason why working as much as you are, whatever that is. So strategy is a bit different. So once we are forward, we'll have a game plan, learn as much as we can about the business, and then decide, hey, where do we absolutely need to focus our attention to get our quick win. Our quick win is something that you can just say, hey, I made this change and I'm already happy. Now, whatever we do is just a cherry on top or icing on the cake. So that's kind of what we're looking for. But we do have Google Sheet. And a huge reason of that is you always want your SOPs somewhere besides a system. These systems can break, and you have to expect that. Everyone always wants a unicorn, a system that just doesn't exist. And the reason, because everyone's process is slightly different, and how we want systems to work is also slightly different. I might want it to do something that you're just like, I could never imagine that doing anything good for my process. So expect it to break. It will break. They sometimes get sold, or just things to keep in account for. So that was a huge reason why we started the Google Sheet process, because yes, it's a manual process. I wish it wasn't with how far tech is. I wish it could just be a one click for all of us and say, move over.
I always use the analogy of you go to a restaurant and their credit card scanner is down.
Yeah.
Their system is down, and nobody knows how to use the old school swipe thing with the carbon. You just have to hand write down like your bill is, or you have to pay cash. So you have to be ready for that in all of these systems as well. It was funny because made a comment earlier, and I was thinking, God, that sounds familiar. There's a book called Scalable, Get Scalable. I don't know if you guys have read it, but a quote that he does, and he says, "Good people don't fix broken systems; break good people." So if any of you have felt like that broken person because the system beat you, okay, this is why I'm bringing this kind of option to you guys so that you can know that there's somebody out there that can actually help in that way. So what's the onboarding process? So like when you go start to finish, you're going to set up, let's choose AFrame since it was the user-friendly one, okay? We can go basically, that's going to probably be your easiest setup, and then everything else is going to be a little more difficult. So what is the time frame from the time you start the setup? Do you start your Google Drive documents and all of that to the time it's set up and being used by the team? What do you think is a good setup time frame?
Oh, I would say a month for AFrame is typically what we're seeing, but keep in mind, there's so many factors it depends on. So if you are already in AFrame and using it and you're not happy with how it's working, then part of our process is actually rebuilding your existing account in a Google Sheet. We audit it together. We learn more about your business. It's very much a approach so that there could be hurdles if there's tech challenges, or we need to understand, hey, why should I switch the way that I do this? So there's a lot of coaching that. So if you're someone that is just, hey, I get into a system, I have my eyes on AFrame, I want to get in there. What we do is and we have our own processes as well that we can give you if you don't have one, if you want to just see how others, see if something might be better for you. That's something that we can provide. And then if we're building hours, that's something that within that date, it'll be built in your account. So it's the cookie cutter answer, since it does depend on so much. And we work with a lot of teams that are in different states. So if you're managing, do not tell me I said it could be done in a month, because we're talking about a different scope of work entirely here. It just depends. And even some people have email templates, hundreds of email templates. So this is all manual work on our end, and of our work together is going to actually dive into the email templates and tell you what you don't need and what we should consider eliminating altogether. Because we want your clients to have a similar experience each time and for it to be enjoyable for them. So if they're reading, a day from you, and this is a very dramatic example here, but that's something we would want to tell you about how to actually streamline it so they know, action item from them, and just really nail down the communication is a huge part of what we're looking for.
Huge. And that's get you great reviews and happy customer clients in a good customer experience. So cool. Do you have more on your slide deck?
Oh, just one. So this is just more so for just about what you do. It's about who knows about it. And this is why we introduced the PR service as well, since we found that the teams that are really dominating, they are standing out within their local market or a national market. It's great if you're looking to attract, clients and really build a referral-based business. You're running, for instance. This is something to do besides running ads, because it lives online forever. But even in addition to running ads or being seen on social media, whatever that looks like, you want to be able to have someone Google you and see that you're reputable, that you've been featured, that, sharing your accolades, publications that are well known. So this is just another layer of the services that we can provide. We can build out a PR plan for you, and it's more of an exciting thing beyond the system. Systems are necessary. PR, I would say, is more exciting. It's more ego-driven, I'll say, to say, hey, look what I've done and what I've accomplished. And there's nothing wrong with that when you've done great things.
But it's a lot of these team leaders, they go and put their name in the America's, greatest people or the whatever, right? The top 500, but then they never utilize the award. They take it and put it across all channels. It just kind of sits there, and it might show up on an Instagram post or a Facebook post, but it really doesn't do anything else. And it really should be inside your local newspaper, a magazine that's in your local market, something that's a coffee table book or something, right?
No, that's a great point, because you don't want to just do it and have it sit there. You want to leverage it. You want to be able, you have a client list of thousands of people. You want to say, hey, look, we've just been featured in Forbes. Check out our article here. Because now look at it as my agent must be doing amazing things. I'm more likely to refer this person because now I can say, hey, they're great. They were mentioned here. And then if you're also leveraging that through social media, again, through, that out as a, contact list, now you're really building your brand, which people are in to you. Anyone, we all know how many realtors there are.
Yeah.
So we to, the brand and build out who you are, and you can really control the narrative with going the PR route as well. It's someone else saying about you what you believe to be true about you as well.
Where can they find you?
Oh, here we go. So here, my last slide here. So my email, feel free to connect with me directly, Jackie@evolvereal.com, or we can definitely schedule a call at evolvereal.com. There's a link on there for us to chat. Would love to connect with you guys, see how I can help, and hopefully this has been valuable.
Very good. Any questions on specific products of those 4 products that you guys might have? I mean, question will help everybody involved because I'm sure that they also overlap in products as well. So any challenges you guys are having? Steve, still on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
There you are. I had to find you on my screen. So Steve has built out Sisu for his team in Oregon. And using that, Steve, you said in the note to me for transaction management, automations. Is that something new that Sisu just added?
No, had it for a bit. It took a little while for them to get it to the level that we were willing to use it. And then we tested it internally for a long time before we started having it go customer facing. We had on into, they have like a transaction roadmap set up. We had done that, but we do have like fill a Sisu form, ask a bunch of questions. And then from that, it triggers task lists, which have notifications and or task assignments to different people on the team.
Does that specifically start at the agent level and then it goes to your admins who are handling the transactions, or is it an admin level forms?
We hit so that the agent fills out, basically, we just call it a buyer handoff or a seller handoff, and it asks them 25 questions. And then from there, it'll trigger some automations. It'll give a transaction summary to the transaction coordinator, and then, send to escrow. Yeah.
Do you have it where your clients, the consumer, is also inside the facing? So, okay.
No, all they see are the emails.
Jackie, on regards to Sisu, what is that next phase of you heard Steve say?
I'd say utilizing the client portals would be huge. And it's that you all are testing it out internally, because that's what you want to do first, to be able to know, hey, what notifications are they getting? What do we want them to see versus not see? But that would be the next step, is to really utilize that client portal. And
so you recommend client portals on all of the 4 products that you guys set up? So I know that everybody has a different thinking about that. Like, I totally freak out over that and be
you wouldn't freak out if you didn't know what it looked like for them. But when you know what it looks like for them, now it's like, okay, they're not going to call me. They're going to check.
So, and is it automated? Do you set it up where it's automated, it's going to go out, or is it in there and then it's manually done by the TC or LC to send it out so that they can make sure it's going out at the right time of the transaction or whatever?
You can do it either or. So some of our some systems will do an email where it says, hey, it's every Friday. It says, hey, don't forget you have access to your client portal. Here is the link you can quickly log in. Others have what's called a weekly summary, or an open to close, it's called a one sheet, where it can be completely automatically sent. That's a little bit different because it's actually just a sheet. It's not something that is more of a client portal. Some of the client portals you have to log into, versus some is a one click and you're already in, which, I'm biased. I don't think anyone wants to log in to one other thing in their life, but at the same time, it's worth it if they are able to see where it's at. You're giving them the information to be able to do it. And even a lot of, everything. It's very in this process to be able to have to log into something.
I could see trying to like break that in my own limited belief issues that I would probably set up my listing seller weekly report card in that system. And that way, then that's kind of an issue. It's not on a transaction per se. It's all the marketing pieces and stuff like that. So yeah, I would get used to it going out weekly and what the consumer is doing with it. Then I would know how the system would be working. To then
some of our clients, they're using it as a way to sell them on the listing presentation. So for Sisu specifically, right, you have the roadmap. So they're able to say, hey, what makes me different? Oh, and something very cool that you can do is you can name it. You can name your client portal, whatever, our Evolve Real portal. You don't have to use whatever the software name is. It's a really great way to hyperlink it, but put and come up with a cool name for your app that you're providing your clients, and it makes you a little bit different as well. Like, this is something that we do here at real estate. I see someone from here is there, so you're able to.
Is it like a landing page? It's a separate website landing page portal.
Some of them are, I would say, or it's just within it. And even if it's within it, it's the fact that it's your process. You're making it part of what's about you. So even if they log in and they see Sisu, it's powered by Sisu. It still has your logo on it. It's just a great to be able to say, here's what to expect when working with me. This is a little bit of our, map. First, we want to get your home market ready, and they're able to see it in such a beautifully designed way because you're just utilizing what's already built in on the back end. And then once they actually are a client, then they're able to feel confident about what step happens next. So
are you using anything like that on the Sisu end?
Me or Steve?
Steve.
No.
Okay.
And that I'm with you. We did a whole lot to get the automations in order, and then it was just like I
burn at that point, right? I'll revisit this next year.
So I know that there's several to close users here. Anybody have any in-depth open to close issues or questions you want to ask Jackie while we're here today? Any issues that I'm not even going to touch that right now. I'm just going to ignore it for the next 30 days. And who's an AFrame user in here? Sheila, you're an AFrame user.
Yeah, we're building and sort of phase of testing it out, like how the notification come out, etc. Mm-hmm. So it's not yet like for launch purposes. We're sort of in building.
This is a good question then. Jackie, what are your fees? If Sheila and I've started the build out of AFrame and I'm like, you know what? I understand how this works, but I just want it to be set up so I can start using it in 2 weeks. What that costs? We'll start at the AFrame level and kind of there, because I know that things are more detailed.
Yeah, and honestly, it's custom, so it's not a one size fits all, but just to give a general range. So even if it's just, on one call that we want to do and walk you through the system, let's say you have some great tech knowledge, you're stuck on that next step, whatever that is. So just for $350, we could hop on a call through Zoom for an hour and actually walk through the platform and give you some action items and next steps. For the actual build portion of it, that would be part of our discovery where we're deciding, it depends on how many states we're working with, how many email templates do we already have? Are we custom creating that? So we'll go through a whole list of what we can do and give you our recommendation on what is the, hanging fruit there. So that would be the best process with that. If I had to give you kind of range, it would be from 2,000 is typically where we would start with that custom build. We get access to a Slack channel, send Looms and help you get it up and running. And then from there, it just depends on what else, and we have some different models. If you're just needing support, let's say it's completely built out, but you're just wanting support on the back end, then it would be $1,500 a month. And you have our team on the back end actually troubleshooting, still have the Slack channel access, giving your recommendations on strategies. So a few different ways to structure it. And during our discovery, we would just determine, where are you at? What do you need? What is an ideal, and work with you on that. So it's not as straightforward as this. We really want to kind of know what you need, be able to guide you on that, and then begin.
That sounds like it, I mean, reasonable on an hourly rate. And then also like that Shay Heron and Elena Key have joined forces for setup for this transaction stuff in Follow Boss. And their base fee is $2,000. And then it goes from there depending on customization and that. So that's about the rate if you're looking for somebody to come in and help you set it up or do it for you. So good. Any other questions? Jackie, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate your knowledge and all of that. And so we'll send out the recording and we will send out your slide deck and your contact information and all of that with today's recording to everybody. Like I said, I opened this up to the public. It's not just the members of the Ops Mastermind today because it's a common question, and needed to kind of cover you, Jackie, knew the behind the scenes because you're actually inside working in the 4 products. So I have a general overview opinion of all of them, but for the most part, they're in the thick of it. So you have a resource now. If you have questions that you need help with on any of those systems setting up, Steve built out Sisu a little bit more detailed than I have seen others do it for transaction management and communication. I know that Shelly just finished and her person just finished setting up Next. You got Sheila over there setting up AFrame. So you guys communicate with each other, call if you need her. So there's a lot. I know Becky and Paula have both gone through the pain and of setting up open to close. And these are not light lifting. These are heavy lifting things to do.
So good to set that expectation.
Yes, exactly.
It's not
supposed to be. Yeah, exactly. But it's set up, boy, does it make your life a lot easier. So very good. What else today that we can chit chat about? Any specific questions, needs, wants, topics? Are 42 days into the first of the year or something like that?
Here, I'll go.
Yeah, Shelly.
So I sent Yvonne actually a sample of, we're testing something out. My two ops ladies are on, Michelle and Raquel, who are in Next. So we're testing out a template for when we receive offers in, because we're looking at the process of when Raquel receives offers in and like, how do you streamline this process? So I tested out chat, and I'm going to build out a little more. And so I said, this is what we require when a new offer package comes in, and we give it a list of everything that's required. Here's the package that's submitted by the buyer's agent. Tell me everything that's complete and not complete. And it actually read my contract, because we do Next, and that's how we got the idea, is because Next reads the contract. And it actually spit out everything from the statement had to be dated within X amount of days. It was short deposit funds. It was pretty amazing, and we were just kind of geeking out over it for like about minutes. And so Raquel put together her full package. So we're going to be testing it out more in detail, because Raquel's like, Shelly, this will save me like so much time. You have no idea if this works, because then she can still audit it, but it's just really quick.
So you guys, this was the first one, and it's ChatGPT. She loaded up all of the documents, all the bank statements, all the stuff. I'm a real estate professional that receives lots of offers in on my property listings and want to simplify the process. I received the offer and backup documentation. And it says basically, get out,
really
right?
Quick one.
And so offer package review, it basically broke it down into the initial deposit, down payment. It also said it didn't have enough money in the proof of funds to cover the down payment that they needed for a closing. So it told them that. It all through this final review. And so it goes check needs and actions. Bank statements do not show enough funds. Action needed, request updated statements. And then the second one that she ran through, this one was please a list of required disclosures for vacant land sale using the disclosure chart as a guide. And they loaded up their sales disclosure chart. And then it gave them their California disclosures of what was required for land and optional situational disclosures. So that was awesome.
Yeah. If you read the CAR disclosure chart, it's mind-numbing, because it's 25 pages of just words. And then we were updating our templates, and one of my girls, Michelle, was out, and Raquel needed the vacant land. I'm like, just do this. And it worked. And then they audited it and it was
So when in doubt, go to ChatGPT 4.0. Get a paid a month or something account. Let it do some work for you. Okay.
So I'm really fine-tune the offer one, and I'll send it to Yvonne to share with you guys. If it works perfect, and if it works great, and Raquel's going to test it out. But she's like, Shelly, this will be a game changer, for me, because then she drafts an email to that buyer's agent telling them everything it's missing. But now it's pretty much drafted for her, and she can just audit it and send it out. So I was geeking out over it. It was fun.
Love it. Anybody else have something fun to share?
Well, as you know, we use Notebook LM, and it already converted to Notebook LM Plus for free if you're a workspace user. And so use it now also with transactions. So for example, we have this very difficult client that really reads HOA disclosures like line by line. And he would send us questions and like, oh God. So I basically loaded all the HOA documents, summarized it for him. For example, he asked, was there any repair done to foundation? And so I had Notebook LM read the HOA meeting notes of 12 months, and it spewed out the repairs done in the entire community. And I sent it back saying, nope, there has been no discussion of foundations in the entire community in the past 12 months. And I the analysis of Notebook LM, and that's it.
Okay, that's because, never read all of the HOA documents. Never. I sold a ton of stuff in HOAs. Just ridiculous. The minutes after 20 years or 10 years or whatever. That is awesome. So very good, Sheila. Love it. All right. All right, guys. Anything else that you need today? Next is on the 26th, and I do not have a guest for that call. It'll be open forum. If anybody's on this call that is not a member of the ops community or network here, just me an email, reply to the one with the recording and let me know, and we'll add you. We keep it operations managers only who are high level. However, we know that some of you team leads are also operations managers. So I'll let you in. Okay. We are looking for more members and more topics. I love bringing people like Jackie to share their knowledge and also to help you guys out on things that you need help with building and doing. So, all right, you guys, have a great 2 weeks, and we'll see you at the end of the month.